Hey everyone, Austin Schneider here. Welcome to Rise Podcast, where we talk about real influence, self-development, and entrepreneurship. Welcome to Rise Podcast. Hey, super excited for this episode because I had the absolute pleasure of interviewing Collin Henderson, who's the founder of Master Your Mindset. He is a mindset coach. He's an author. He dropped some absolute nuggets, guys, on our mindset, how to think better, how to control the power of our mind, the power of our thoughts, and so much more. Guys, this was awesome. All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to Rise Podcast. Super excited because we have Collin Henderson in the house. And I've been watching Collin for a long time because one of the pillars of content that I consume the most is mindset and just the power of your mind and what you can do with your mind and what you can achieve just if you master your mindset, as you would say, right? Mm-hmm. So, honored to have him for the next 30 minutes or so, man. And firstly, would love for you just to introduce yourself and then talk about what you do and how you got there.
Awesome. It's an honor to be here. What's up, everyone? Hey, pumped. Excited to talk mindset. There are three things we can train. You can train your body, you can train your craft, you can also train your mind. And I'm so curious about the power of thought, the power of self-image, the power of self-talk, and why some people have success and some don't. Is it IQ? Is it talent? It's a lot of things, but I know if you don't train your mind, if you don't formally train the things that we talk about, school does a good job of like the basics, but I just struggled with confidence for a long time. I struggled with like being self-aware. I struggled with self-worth tied to how many hits in baseball, how many catches in football, how many sales I got, and just struggled with like self-worth. And I had a mindset coach, a sales coach that just rocked me. He just changed my world, talking about thoughts become things. Whatever the brain can conceive and believe, it can achieve. He started like, I'm like, what are you talking about? Yeah. So he kind of just showed me another way of like, the power of books, podcasts, journaling, mindfulness, to visualize, goal setting. Mm-hmm. And I just was like healthier, happier, was like did awesome in sales. So I'm obsessed with like bringing these concepts to everyone. Mm-hmm. Like, why should this only be held to like CEOs or like pro athletes who have like mindset coaches? Why shouldn't this stuff be given to like kids? Yeah. So like my like passion and purpose is like through my struggles of like lacking these tools, mm-hmm. is to give these tools to everyone. Mm-hmm.
The tools of how to master the mindset.
Yeah, there's laws of gravity, there's laws of success, there's laws of thinking. Yeah. If we can just break down some of those like core truths, yeah, and like just make it simple. And kind of the way I explain it is like you go to the gym and you have a strength coach teaching you how to lift weights. Like here's the pull-up bar, squat, clean bench, the bike. Like we should have coaches, like here's some mental emotional lifts that you can train, mm-hmm. you can condition your mind mm-hmm. to be grateful, to have like positive self-talk, to focus on who you are, not who you aren't, to not be a slave and a prisoner of your past.
Yeah. And why do you think people don't tap into training their mindset?
Well, I think for the longest time, like when you would talk to a therapist or a counselor or ask for help, that was a sign that you're weak. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Russell Wilson has a full-time mindset coach he meets with every Thursday.
Mm-hmm. Tripping wide, right?
Yeah. So why? I mean, if the best performers are, we call it prehab. Yeah. We call it prehab, like being ahead of it. Like why wait till there's a problem? Yeah. And we know usually if I talk with like if you're a leader, if you're a business, if you're a CEO, if you're a teacher or a coach, a manager, I was like, who is your favorite leader of all time? Yeah. And they would like tell me, and I was like, well, did you learn more about life or about business, or more about life or about your sport? Mm-hmm. It's all about more about life. Mm-hmm. Like how do you respond to like failure?
Mm-hmm. That's good.
How do you have self-grace, which is so hard. Mm-hmm. How to be courageous enough to declare what it is that you want the most. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Most people are too afraid to even declare this is my goals. Yeah. Because if I don't hit it, I'm like, what's gonna happen? So I think just the problem is, I think where it's moving now, we're seeing like a shift. Thank goodness for companies like yourself who put out amazing content on development, on making these concepts normal of like personal growth and development and self-awareness and love and kindness, and like so we can see them more now. So it's kind of becoming more normal, but we still
social media talking about
ways to go. We still got some ways to go.
Yeah. So like with all of this content around mindset and like the big influencers like the Carolina Leafs and like a lot of people talk about the power of the brain, the Joe Dispenza's or whatever. Why should we focus on our mind versus anything else?
To me, that's a no-brainer. I mean, the mind controls everything.
But how? Like, why?
Why? So here's a great question from her name is Susan David. She says, who's in charge, the thinker or the thought? Mm-hmm. And I often ask this question if I'm doing live trainings or let's go to the podcast, and I ask this question on other episodes, but like, what percent of human thoughts are negative? Mm-hmm. Do you know?
Is it 80?
It's 80%. Yeah. So 4 out of 5 thoughts.
Yeah.
And some research shows that we produce around 50,000 thoughts per day. Mm-hmm. So let's do the math. That's 40,000 negative thoughts that your subconscious is just replaying on a loop. Mm-hmm. So if we don't have a way to front load our thinking and train our minds to notice, is this thought true? Said by who? Mm-hmm. Is this thought serving? Is it kind? Mm-hmm. If we don't have some awareness on just being a prisoner of our past and how our brain is shaped, it's shaped by 3 things: trauma, drama, daddy and mama, from what we see, hear, and experience. So a lot of this training mentally is healing some past trauma and some past failures, but giving you daily systems to proactively train and overcome some of these thoughts and be aware, is that thought true? Who said that? Because your first thought would be negative, but if your mind is trained to notice, your second, third, fourth thought doesn't have to be.
Your mind can actually control your emotions.
Well, and watch this. Everything happens twice. First in our mind, then in real life. Mm-hmm. The body and the brain cannot tell the difference between a real and an imagined event. Mm. So if we play that game what if, can go both ways. What if I fail? What if they don't like me? What if I screw up? Yeah. So you are manifesting and creating neural pathways for your fears. Yeah. Fear and faith have a lot in common. If we can condition our mind to say, what if I ball out? Yeah. What if I show up and be authentic and vulnerable and serve? What if I crush it? Yeah. You're creating just a much more a healthier pathway to, again, proactively train. Now, and also I like to teach performers, you're gonna fail. Yeah. Who says that you're defined by that failure? The top business owners, top athletes, top in the military, we fail all the time, but we know that the top performers recover quickly. Mm-hmm. So have some tools on how to press the reset button. I gave you a bracelet that says reset, refocus, rise. Yeah. So have language around how do you reset, have a routine to reset, have tools to get your breath in the present moment, do a body scan, have a quick 5-second routine visually, emotionally, mentally, spiritually to get back here.
Yeah. I read, because I go to counseling too, I get coached myself because there's so much importance there, that if you are thinking negative thoughts about yourself, or if you're reflecting and just beating yourself up, you can't, your brain will not allow yourself to learn because you're thinking negative thoughts. If you're like, oh gosh, I wish I would have done this, or I wish I would have done that, your brain, there's a part in your brain that will say, you can't learn right now. But if you flip the switch and if you're like, oh gosh, I got this, I could have improved there, but next time I'm going to do this, then that's where you grow and that's where you learn from. And that just is mind-blowing. Mm-hmm. It's I find myself all the time just beating myself up. But now since I know that and I'm aware of that, I can say, nope, that's going to prevent me from learning going forward. I'm going to sit here and actually rewire my brain to hope for a better next time or whatever it is on the next sales call or gym session or whatever it is.
Yeah, I've just never seen somebody, if your strategy is to beat yourself up, I've never seen that approach win for you or been helpful. Yeah. Who says having this inner critic, this inner judge, it's just noticing. So probably one of my life-changing tools to be aware is just noticing when that critic is popping up, is replaying past mistakes or saying things why are you worthy of this? Why are they going to trust you? Who gives you the platform to start a company and tell other companies how they should be marketing and posting stuff and filming? Who gives you the authority? You didn't have a degree in this. You don't have. So your brain is going to try to just front load to avoid failure. The brain is designed to survive, not thrive. Yeah. It's designed to survey the environment, look for threats, danger, challenges, but it's this acronym called FOPO. Do you know what that stands for? So FOPO is robbing everyone of abundance, love, fear of other people's opinions. Because it's this concept you aren't who you think you are aren't who's other think you are what you think other people think you are, and that's oftentimes not true. We are suffering from imposter syndrome. Yes. Or we're overconfident, we don't know what we're doing, and then we fail, and then we just quit because our ego is totally attached to the outcome. If we can detach our worth from the outcome and attach our worth from growth, and being curious and of kindness and love, like that's a much better place.
How much of your training or like working with people is like just working on their identity?
I love teaching self-image.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna throw some catchphrases that you guys can tweet later if you want. So you never outperform your self-image.
Mm-hmm.
Our limits begin where our vision ends.
Mm-hmm.
So when you say a phrase like I am, or I've always been like this, like, oh, I always forget names.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always late. I'm not a morning person.
Mm-hmm.
You are writing a story that your subconscious acts out. So think of your conscious brain and your subconscious brain.
Mm-hmm.
Your conscious brain is the size of a mouse. Your subconscious is the size of an elephant.
Mm-hmm.
And 97% of our actions are controlled by our subconscious mind.
Mm-hmm.
So when you give yourself a label, your subconscious is going to act that out.
Totally.
It's gonna to prove yourself right.
So good.
So the conscious brain is the goal setter, but the subconscious is the goal getter.
Yes.
So if we can rewire, I am compassionate.
Yeah.
I am creative. Instead of focusing on who you aren't. It sounds so elementary that most people wake up and they look on Instagram, they look at how many followers they have, they look in the mirror and they focus on what they don't have, or their limits, or their past. So that the brain keeps score of failures. The brain keeps score of things that are negative, not positive. So we have to, like, again, recondition our mind. Who do I want to be? What's the best version of me? We talked about pre-show, the power of having a mission, and the power of values. We know that one of my favorite authors is James Clear. James Clear sends out every Thursday, he calls it 3-2-1, like great content, but he says, our behaviors, like the number one driver of our behaviors and our actions is our self-image, how we see ourselves. So I think some of the, like, whether through therapy, whether through coaching, whether through, your best friends, and like get together, and it's like, a lot of times if someone's struggling, I'll just tell me your story. Like, I'm gonna poke holes in that story.
Yeah.
Like, I'm seeing something totally different.
Yeah.
So a part of training your mind is to reframe and take a step back, and like our actions are not based off of truth. Awesome, they're based on our perception of that truth.
Yeah.
So it's a simple exercise. If you knew you couldn't fail, what would you do? What actions would you take? Think of like mentors or heroes. Like, what traits do they have? Write them down. Start acting like that.
So good.
Like, so backward design, and then just start acting like it.
Yeah.
And like, today I'm gonna be compassionate. Today I'm gonna be, patient.
Yeah.
Today I'm gonna act confident. Even though I'm not, I'm gonna act confident.
Yeah. That's interesting.
So the simple like metaphor is like when you go to a restaurant. Do you have like a favorite restaurant?
Let's just say Carmine.
Okay.
Yeah.
You go there. Yeah, you go there and it's like you order your favorite dish, whatever that is.
Yeah.
You tell the waitress, the waiter, like what you want, and you are expecting that to come.
Yeah.
You have any doubt that it's not coming? Well, why can't we look at traits, behaviors that we want to be, identify them, write them down, and start acting like it with the expectation? If I show up daily and work on these things, I can manifest, attract, and be whoever I want to be.
So if someone is listening to this and like, man, I just want to grow my self-image and how I think of myself, and I want to look these ways, whether that's more compassion, more love, more empathy, be a harder worker, get into my fitness program, be more consistent, how would they do that?
Okay, I'll give you three.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna think of it right now. But the first thing is just to forgive yourself. It's like, you're not your past.
Yeah.
Like, who says that you're defined by that mistake? You're defined by what that mean teacher said about you, like in the 8th grade, or that random troll on Facebook hit you up with like labeling you. Like, who says, like, so that self-compassion and that forgiveness on like, I'm not defined by my past. I'm not defined by what I do, but like being totally present. The second way, one of the best ways to elevate your self-image is to change who you hang out with. Show me your friends, I'll show your habits. Show me your habits, I'll show you your future. So if you want to be confident, hang out with confident. You want to be rich, hang out with rich people. Like, if you hang out with 5 idiots, you're going to be the 6th idiot. Yeah, so we know that environment is so critical for image and behavior and habits. Environment.
Yeah.
So cultivate an environment of people who are compassionate, who point out your strengths, who love to see you have success. Like, find mentors who have the traits that you want, And we have what's called mirror neurons in our brain. We model mirror what we see, make the desired behavior normal.
Yeah.
And then the third thing is just to identify those traits and act like it.
Yeah.
Practice them.
Yeah, I think the second point is so important. Like, I think of even just hanging around, let's just say, like if I wanted to live on the water someday I have a friend who just rented a house in Hunts Point. And I'm like, dude, like you're going to manifest yourself buying a house on Hunts Point just because you're in that environment of a waterfront house in freaking Hunts Point, you know? And he keeps talking about it. He was like unsure about it and blah, 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 blah. It's kind of an extreme example, but because he's positioned that way, it's going to come to him. It's going to magnetize to him. It's like, if I want to be around other business owners who are successful, then I'm going to be the other successful business owner. And then I think you called out another thing, like they'll call out your strengths. Like it's so hard to see your own strengths. Like I can't look in the mirror and be like, it's hard for me to say, oh wow, you're going to crush it today, blah, 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 blah. But if you have people just feeding into you and being gold diggers for you, it's like, dang, game on.
Yeah, and then part of that step 3 is when you like pinpoint who you want to be and what you want, those values, like go to the mind gym, don't just exercise.
Yeah.
And see that lifestyle, see yourself experiencing, feeling those things. Your brain can't tell the difference.
Yeah.
You're elevating what is true for you.
Yeah.
You're creating future memories
Yeah.
by doing this exercise of seeing yourself in those environments, not just like thinking, but experiencing them. Mm-hmm. This is called imagery, all your senses.
Yeah.
And then when you get out of that like session, it's like your brain just is creating a neural pathway, a mental groove for your subconscious to attract, to manifest, and to be in those around those people, to have those traits, to be that like person.
Yeah.
Do you have to do it first before you believe it, or you see it before, or you feel it, experience before it happens?
Yeah.
I'm of the belief that I can manifest if I can pinpoint it.
Mm-hmm.
I can dress rehearse it in my mind.
Yeah.
And then when I do that daily, like it just becomes like a natural thing.
Yeah. It becomes your subconscious, right?
Well, and most people aren't disciplined, because it's kind of like a weird thing. Like it's simple, because if I go to the gym,
Mm-hmm.
I can physically sweat and feel and maybe weigh myself and have like a physical thing I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
But going to the mind gym, when you visualize or practice mindfulness, it's like you can't like open up your brain, like look inside it.
Yeah.
But it's you're getting a mental workout.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So just being disciplined, that's why I believe like in the morning, sweat before scream.
Mm-hmm.
Don't watch negative news.
Mm-hmm.
Don't pull up your Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to pull up your Instagram when we're with you guys later.
Mm-hmm.
But don't start your day like priming your mind for like these images of lack or like what you don't want, or you're comparing.
Yeah.
So work out physically, but work out emotionally and mentally, where mindfulness, visualize, journal, reflect, read what I learned today, and then you can start making this a daily habit. Because the thing about people who like, oh, I've tried to meditate, but I'm not good at it. So like, how many times have you done it? 3 or 4. Well, if you want to learn how to play piano, you just try it 2 or 3 times and expect to master it.
Yeah.
So like you're not gonna always feel it. You always feel juiced to go to the gym.
Yeah. No, not at all.
Exactly. You're not gonna always feel juiced to do mindfulness.
Yeah.
But we know that. You asked me where does it start? It starts with your mind.
Yeah, it's good.
So you can hope to be confident, or you can train to be confident.
Yeah.
You can hope to be resilient, or you can train resilience.
Yeah.
You can hope to be focused, or you can train focus.
Yeah, it's good. So good. So what's the difference between a low performer and a high performer? Like, what does it mean? Like, even from a mindset perspective, because we all have the same 24 hours. We all, like, for the most part, we're all human, right? And it's like, okay, like, what makes Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, the most successful entrepreneurs so successful versus maybe someone who is on the other end of their spectrum who may want that but just can't get there?
Yeah, there's a few. I would say that the first one is, I think people who are not performing at their best, or they're not achieving their goals, they lie to themselves and they say, Bezos, Oprah, LeBron James, fill in the blank in whatever industry you're in, they always feel like motivated. They always feel calm. They always feel like they know what to do. That's a lie. These top performers act different than how they feel. Standards over feelings. They'll have it all figured out. They're able to, like we talked about like pre-show, like they're able to just like, I'm gonna get started, I'm gonna try to figure it out, but they have this bias for action. There's one thing you take from this, listeners, is you don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to feel motivated. You don't have to be super clear on what's going to happen. But it's the start that stops most people. If you can just have a bias for action and start moving, and the thing standards, again, with values, and like just start acting, moving, you're going to learn way more than if you just, I have to have this together and that together, and it has to be crystal clear. No. Half of the projects I do, I get these deals, we have a conversation about their needs, and like, I can do that. I can do that. And I'll like build it as we go, but like, I trust myself that I can do difficult things because I practice doing things that are hard, and just trust that I can figure it out. So I think that's like the first one, is like, you're not gonna always feel juiced. You're not gonna always feel super clear. But if you can perform well with your like B and like C game, you don't always have to have your A game to win. But just get moving. I think that's kind of one. The other one, there's some research from the Human Performance Institute. They looked at the top tennis players in the world. Number one. These number one tennis players had one thing different than everybody else. One trait. It wasn't like serve velocity or backhand. It was they can recover quickly from failure. Point number two is what separates below that high is the top performers recover so fast. They don't let a bad 2 minutes turn into a bad hour, or a bad hour turn to a bad day turn to a bad week, a bad week turn to a bad month, a bad month turn to a bad quarter. So they're able to not be defined by, or to learn quickly, or to respond. So if we can train this like resilient skill of like, okay, what can I learn from that? I'm not defined by it. Like, how many people get crippled from a mistake and they're in their head and they can't keep moving? What are people thinking? I don't think I'm worthy of this. They let those thoughts sabotage. But the top performers recover fast.
Yeah, that's good. Think about the golfers. If you miss a shot and then the whole round is screwed. But the best golfers, they're just composed the whole time.
100%. I'll say those are kind of two. So like, act different how you feel. I can always feel motivated, confident. Like, you got it together, but just know that I don't have to be, like always motivated. Like, I'm gonna show up anyway.
So you think so?
Would you agree on that one?
100%.
Like, do you always feel like juiced all the time?
No.
But you show up anyway.
Yeah. You show up, and then I think the action thing is just so valuable. Because I mean, we're supposed to be directed by our steps. If we just take that first step, then we're gonna get one step closer, one step closer. People think it's like I'm reaching for this huge step where I need to skip 5 steps, but it's like you're not prepared. Like, what you learn on that first step is gonna prepare you for the next step, and then prepare you for the next step. It's like, but they want the 8th step.
That's a great point. And it's the phrasing, it's the aggregation of marginal gains. It's 100%. A little, a lot, not 100%. A lot, a little. It's a little bit of these little micro habits daily, every day.
For sure.
Stacked over time. It's like, if you want to get like stronger, like in the weight room, like with your bench. I'm not very confident with my it's almost summer. Look good, stronger. Well, what if we just get 2.5 pounds stronger every week? 2.5, just that's it. But over 10 months, you've increased your strength by 100 pounds. So it's these like marginal gains done consistently. They're going to eventually compound. I think people want to see that instant magic pill, that overnight success. The law of success says it does not work that way.
Big time. Thank you, social media, for
yes. Well, Amazon Prime. Back in my day, we listened to the radio. We had to wait 3 minutes for the next song. We just go to Apple Music or to Spotify and turn the next song. You don't like the show? Go on Netflix and find something else. We used to go to Blockbuster Video. You got 2 movies for the weekend.
Come on.
So it's just like this instant gratification of like, I like it, I'm gonna go to the next thing. Well, the law of success says like you need to commit to the process, and success is not a microwave. Success is a crock pot. And it's designed that way. If it's processed overnight, it's processed, it's fake, it's not healthy. If it's built fast, it won't last. If it's built slow, it will grow the right way. So just trust the process. Focus on the root, not just the fruit.
So good. I think that's literally the vision for, or one of the pieces of the vision for Brantegic is like, we got to focus on the root, make sure the root is healthy, which means the people are healthy. Because if we just focus on the fruit, or what would be leaves, it's like, oh cool, we have all this stuff, but if the people aren't happy, if they're burnt out, if their families are going bad, then what good is the fruit or the leaves? It's like, come on, like that's just irrelevant.
And this is where having like a process is so critical. So if I was coaching you, like I was like, tell me what you want the most. Most people can't answer that question. But Austin, come on, bro. Let's go. Let's get vulnerable. Like, what do you want the most? Can you answer that?
I'm trying to think. Like personal?
I don't know. Whatever. The most. Whatever the most is.
What do I want the most?
How about you pause on that one, or you can answer if you want. But listeners, can you answer that question? What do you want the most? Most people can't answer that.
Yeah.
So we would identify what that is. It might take. I mean, that's a tough question. That was pre-scripted. That's hard. Most people are afraid to declare what they want.
Yeah.
Or they don't know what they want. You can't score without a goal.
Yeah.
When we're leaving the airport at SeaTac, we know where we're going. We're going to Palm Springs.
Yeah. Come on.
I know where I'm going. But the other part of that question is, well, let's backward design systems.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where this question number 2 is so critical. We don't rise to our goals, our vision, whatever these things are set for us. So we follow our systems.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So show me your daily systems. What are your daily habits? What are your habits weekly? What are you doing? What are you measuring monthly? Like let's front load our thinking, because watch this. Design beats willpower.
Mm-hmm.
Design beats willpower. We're talking about values.
That's good.
Core values and what's important to us. Well, let's. These are my non-negotiables every day. I'm gonna get 8 hours of sleep. I'm gonna read my Bible. I'm gonna pray. I'm gonna serve every day. I'm gonna get these what I call MITs, most important tasks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna get these 3 MITs every day. If I did nothing else but those 3, I'd won the day.
Mm-hmm.
Behaviors precede success.
Mm-hmm.
So as much as we need a vision, we need daily systems.
For sure. Yeah.
So I would help you pick.
No.
What behaviors are non-negotiables in your marriage, as a business owner, for whatever your goals are? Like, we are going to identify those behaviors. The top performers in business, military, sport, is behaviors more than just aptitude, talent, and IQ.
Yeah, it's good. And I think about like even like a tree, or like we talked about fruits. Like, okay, you have a seed, which is like where you are now. It's like you gotta feed it with like the daily. You gotta sow it. You know, you gotta make sure that it's getting the good nutrients. You know.
Well, to grow a tree, it needs a few things. It needs sunlight.
For sure.
Okay, that's a behavior.
Yeah.
It needs water. That's a behavior. It needs good soil. That's a behavior. So it's not rocket science. People want this like magic pill, this magic bullet.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if I can just do this one thing, I'll get no. Like, it's daily behaviors.
Yeah, so good. Yeah. So in the age of social media, instant gratification, Spotify, Uber Eats, Amazon Prime, what do you think is holding people back the most to growing their mind, to reaching their goals, to mastering their mindset?
I think poverty is just, again, it's create an environment, man. Like, I think number 1 is don't go alone. Don't try to do this by yourself.
Yeah.
No one should worry or win alone. Like, it's so much easier if you say, hey, I'm going to support you. You support me. This is what I want. This dude Collin Henderson put me on the podcast. Like, what I want. I was too afraid to, or maybe, I know you're not, but like, I'm gonna say some goals.
Yeah.
I'm gonna share them with you.
Yeah.
And then this is my plan to do it. Will you help me get there?
Yeah.
What are your goals? What's your why? How can I help you? Maybe you need a text every morning.
Yeah.
Should we check in once a week and see how you're doing to help to progress?
Yeah, that's good.
I would say, like, I think, when anybody tries to do something big and important, like, you just can't go by yourself.
Yeah, I totally.
You got to build this like group around you. But what humans crave is called oxytocin.
Mm-hmm.
Oxytocin is that bonding chemical, that like trust chemical, like for our survival. Like, we need that.
Mm-hmm.
So as much as that's gonna help you achieve your goals, it's gonna feel good that someone's got your back and you have their back. So I think to overcome some of our blocks is like go together. The second thing I would say that every human being needs to start training right now. And let me ask you a question, Austin. What's the number 1 source of confidence?
Number 1 source of confidence.
Backed by science.
Number 1 source of confidence backed by science.
Self-talk.
Okay, cool.
So how you speak to yourself, the brain thinks in 4 dimensions. Words influence pictures we see. The pictures influence our emotional state. The emotions influence our beliefs. So if it starts with bad language that's unproductive, that's not serving, their lies are not true, it's going to flow into the picture you see of yourself in the world, your environment. It's going to flow into this emotional state, trauma, fear, not taking action, and then it's going to form a belief. Who said that belief is true?
Yeah, come on.
So if we can just have more compassion and have a better self-talk game plan, where you call it advertising, or you create a soundtrack for your like subconscious to hear and write down some affirming things about who you are, not who you aren't.
Yeah.
Because the brain can only think about one thought at a time.
Yeah.
So if you let it just go where it wants to go, it's gonna go negative.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if I can recondition, rewire with who I am and who I want to be,
Yeah.
so I say everybody should have anchor statements.
Yeah.
To anchor you mentioned self-image.
Mm-hmm.
To anchor the type of person, the type of action you want to take. So my anchor statements: I'm authentic, I'm present, I'm courageous.
Yeah.
That's what I say. And we become what we think about most of the time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then so have that in these moments, in these pockets when you notice yourself, your mind wandering, or you notice fear, go back to who you want to be and just affirm. And then if you have a hard time with being positive, then have in your back pocket, when have you had success before? That's just as real as the failures you had.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then to anchor that, to be credible, is well, how's your hard work? Have you put in the work? Have you practiced? Have you prepared? Replay what you're doing to earn the right to attract abundance, to have that success.
So good.
So you'd have these written out. And then I think it's critical to about to do a live on Instagram or work with a new client or whatever it is have what I call focus keys.
Yeah.
So if I'm doing a live event, if I'm doing a podcast, I think of three things. I think of joy. I also think of love, and I think of service.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna feel joy in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna feel God's love. I'm gonna love the audience. How can I serve them? I'm gonna love this moment. I'm gonna love on them. I'm gonna serve.
Yeah.
That takes it off of me.
Pressure. Yeah.
So the third thing, last thing I'll say, how to stop is, bro, it's not about you.
Yeah.
You think everyone's looking at you, judging you? They're not.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That was the lie I used to tell myself.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's critiquing and judging my every move. That's untrue. They're worried about how they look.
For sure.
So if that's the case, I'm about to get crazy.
For sure.
I'm gonna fail. I'm gonna try new things. I'm gonna be okay with failure. I'm gonna try creativity.
Yeah.
So I gave you a lot there, but
No, so good. I think a lot of people, to your last point, I even think about the attention span of a human is less than a goldfish. And if we're scared to put ourselves out there, start a business or whatever it is, we just need to realize that people don't care. They don't care.
Yeah, I love that. So if I'm training salespeople, I'm a former national sales trainer.
Yeah.
So I love talking sales.
Yeah.
I was you gotta break the pattern.
Yeah.
You gotta break the pattern. So to me, breaking the pattern, novelty, comedy, vulnerability.
Yeah, that's good.
Do something different.
Mm-hmm.
The brain's hardwired to look at, look for patterns and trends. If it falls out pattern trend, they're not going to pay attention. The number one commodity in today's age digitally is their attention.
Mm-hmm.
So novelty, break the pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, if you can make someone laugh, if you can make fun of yourself, if you can make somebody smile, if you can bring humor into the equation and just not take how many of us take ourselves so serious all the time?
Yeah, for sure.
On that Zoom call, I gotta
100%.
dude, just say something weird.
Yeah.
Or and then being vulnerable, being authentic. That's what people want.
That's what's gonna build trust.
So to influence, it's are they credible? Is there emotion? Is there logic?
Yeah, that's good.
Are you credible? Why should I trust you? That's kind of first person's radar is why should I listen to you?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a million marketing pitches every day.
Yeah.
But I think the way you break through that is with emotion.
Mm-hmm.
Is tell a phenomenal story that engages the listener.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so that's the right side of the brain. And then the third is that logic piece is well, do you have some data? Or get some science to back that up.
Yeah.
So we're kind of going on a different tangent.
No, that's good. Yeah, I think that you had me thinking about the trusted advisor, how to build trust. It's the credibility, and then the relationship or whatever, and then the one that stands out to me is the intimacy. It's you gotta build intimacy.
Do they like working with you? Would you work with yourself?
Yeah.
I mean, are you keeping it light
Or are you
and
a
fun?
robot?
Or is it I remember being in sales, working with doctors and stuff, and those nurses in urology offices.
Yeah. Tough.
Some nurses are dude,
Tough.
some reps come we literally hide.
Yeah.
We hide from them.
Yeah.
Dude, what if our goal with our customers, with our family, with our friends, be the best part of someone's day?
Yeah. Big time.
So how we do that is we flat out solve problems. We find ways
100%.
to solve their problem, to ask questions, to get to know them.
Yeah.
A lot of people in the business game, they sell in one dimension.
Mm-hmm.
That is, they just talk about themselves.
Yeah.
like you just talking about your brand and what you do and all that. You're not talking about that, but if you go the other level of this, to sell in 2D is you master the market. You can educate them on the market, the trends, but to influence in 3 dimensions is knowing them, speaking their language, knowing their problems, helping them connect all those dots.
And once you know them, and then once you know what you're selling, then you know more about them and what your expertise is, and then it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I would say if you're married or you want something done, everyone's always selling. I got 5 kids, 8 and under. I'm selling every day. So the brain is going to listen to and attach to problems or if it's negative, like, so not to be negative, but like we need to sell the problem and how that impacts them. It's called with and what's in it for me as in for them, and work off of that. Have you ever experienced? What are you guys doing with this? But knowing their issues and concerns, like most people, they're not doing anything about it. So if you can provide, I've identified, we're vibing on like what your issues are, and you told me you're not doing anything. You want to help that. Well, that's what we do.
And you paint the vision.
100%. And imagine.
Yeah, big time.
So saying the word imagine was the most like powerful words you can say with the client.
That's good. Imagine
it. And yeah, just paint that picture. Like you said.
Every time I say imagine, I think you know.
Well, so the really 2 words that science has told us that's going to captivate someone and grab their attention is the word imagine and the word you. Because when you say you put them the hero of the story, not yourself. They're thinking themselves, their issues, their concerns. They're not thinking about you. So it's like how you presenting yourself. You just transition to create business conversation. Let's go.
That's good. What's like a habit that, I mean, I'm learning so much right now that anybody could incorporate to grow their mindset, to grow their identity, to get better, really?
I would say just be aware of what you are putting in.
That's good.
So like it's so simple, but like news is always negative. They're making headlines to just to your attention. So just kind of be aware of that and like just start reading books. I like reading. Well, there's audiobooks. There's podcasts you can do 1.8 speed. And like my whole life changed when I started reading books. Like 100%. There's so much knowledge out there. There's people who have been there, done that. They have experience. They've summarized like these core philosophies into like, years worth of work, research into like a little tiny book that you can listen to or read. But I think the biggest problem people miss with that is they read this stuff, listen to it for entertainment. They don't apply it.
Yeah, it's a task.
Yeah. So what you learn, listen to, write down your top 3 things, and then do it. So I think learning is just like who you're around, like your environment, and your environment is so critical. How your mind is conditioned by what we see, hear, and experience. So like upgrade that, who you're around, what you're consuming. But I think the easiest way to recondition your mind is you have it on your bracelet I gave you. I have, I am, I will. So a daily mental priming to elevate your mindset, to master your mindset. We're going to focus on really 3 things. I have is gratitude. The science on gratitude is crazy. It lowers stress. You can live longer. You're more resilient. Duke did some research. People who were like optimistic and grateful made more money, were more successful. They won more in business and in sports. So like you have a daily gratitude. Get your gratitude reps in. Don't just like, I'm grateful, but feel it. Write it down and like use all your senses, whether it's an afternoon walk or I know some people put like a rock in their pocket and they put their hand in their pocket for the rock. I think a lot of us, listeners, when you're in line at Starbucks, when you're at a traffic light stop, you pull out your phone. Jimmy, do you do that? He doesn't do that.
He does it.
So it's like have some rituals where you would normally do something negative. Like have a reminder to like take a deep breath and just feel gratitude flow through your body. Thank you, Jesus, for today. I can talk to Austin. I kept fired up today to serve and to be of service to you. Like for my health, I got these sick ones on the day. Let's go.
You're looking good.
Just do that.
Feel it.
Just do gratitude. But you attach an emotion.
It's easy to task it.
Don't just like check the box.
But I feel like
it's like so gratitude is what I can think, I can do, and I can experience. But like it's like person, place, thing. But like just like let's just train our mind to hunt the good stuff. A simple mental drill I'll do at a workshop is like, okay, everybody, give you 5 seconds. How many blue things can you see in the room? There's all white here, so we're gonna see no blue in here. But how many blue things can you find?
Yeah, 1, 2, Jimmy's shirt. 3, my shirt.
Okay, stop. How many green things did you see in that challenge?
No.
Because you were looking for it. Exactly. So what you focus on, you will find. What you focus on expands.
Yeah.
If you're focused on negativity, lack, victim, not my fault, this stupid born sucks, why me? You're gonna attract those.
Yeah,
You can train your mind to hunt the good stuff, to shift your perspective and your lens for abundance, love, gratitude. That's the foundation of mastering your mindset.
Yeah, so good.
Gratitude is the magnet for miracles. If your only prayer was thank you, that is enough.
Mm-hmm.
So listeners, are you getting your reps in for gratitude? Think that sounds soft? It's not soft. That's savagery. Getting your gratitude reps is savage mode. And then you go with the I am, which is positive self-talk.
Yeah.
So I'm worthy of greatness. I got this. Like I'm the best, Jimmy. I'm the best filmer. Like I'm worthy. I'm gonna kill this. I got 4 cameras. I got the lighting. I'm grateful to be here. Like, what if that was your self-talk instead of,
Yeah.
I hope they like what I do.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm worthy of this. Like, who gives me the credit?
Yeah. Come on.
If you think you can't, you're right.
Yeah.
Like what you say to yourself
So
has 10 times the power versus what other people say to you.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, so like if we just rewire our mind and focus on who we are and who we aren't, like this is daily exercise.
Yeah.
So write down 3 to 5 things of gratitude, but feel them,
Yeah.
and then live life gratitude by loving and serving. And then I am is, what if you change how you spoke to yourself?
Yeah.
Because like if someone made a mistake, you wouldn't go up and say you suck,
Mm-hmm.
but we do that to ourselves all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can just change that
That's
relationship with yourself.
Man.
Self-talk is the #1 source of confidence.
So good.
44,000 patients in the BBC lab, they researched what's the #1 tool to influence performance. Self-talk. Thoughts become things. Energy flows where focus goes. The brain thinks in 4 dimensions: words, pictures, emotions, beliefs, and these beliefs run our life.
Yeah.
So why would we not recondition with like positive talk?
Yeah.
Who has the most medals of all time? Who has the most gold medals?
Michael Phelps.
Michael Phelps. Every time Phelps walks through a doorway, he gives himself an affirmation. I'm go for this. Why not me? I'm a champion. I've earned the right.
Yeah.
So let's have some rituals of like self-talk. The last one, I will, is to visualize.
Yeah.
Is to mindfulness, is to write your goals that are already done, the best version of you, what you want to experience, the goals you have, and just go there in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Do you do this every day? Whoa, it's gonna be awesome.
Powerful. And then it becomes your subconscious because you're feeling it. You're feeling like you're there.
Yeah, because most people are spending all their day thinking of fear, failure, lack, I don't have, don't mess up, what if?
Yeah.
So it's just like vicious cycle. So 4 out of 5 thoughts are negative, 9 out of 10 thoughts are reoccurring.
Yeah.
So we need to rewire. Like if you have any chance of having a better life, I've just summarized like lots of years researching into like 3 simple things you can do every day.
Yeah, come on. And the you were talking about the color one, and I think about the same thing with the cars. Like I want a Tesla right now, and I keep seeing Teslas everywhere
But you know why that is?
because I want it.
Well, because
I think about
but
it.
it's called the RAS, the reticular activating system. Yeah,
That's
once
good.
you pinpoint, your subconscious like notices.
Yeah, same thing. It's like, what if we did that with our goals? What if we did that with like positivity? You know, it's like, man. that'd be
Yeah, so it's like
powerful.
we got to simplify it so where people it's a daily system, it's a daily routine. So I would challenge the listeners. Let's like when you're dying, you're never gonna say, "Damn, I wish I would have watched more Netflix.
Yeah,
That would have been awesome if I could have scrolled some more on IG."
yeah,
It probably would be, "Man, I wish I was more present with people I love. Wish I would have like maybe learned some more stuff to like challenge and like to grow my knowledge to." Who says you have to have a degree? Like, I mean, I love education. I have a master's degree, but like, we are in the information age. Like, ignorance is a choice.
Yeah.
So, it's all about ROI. We have the same hours in the day as everybody has the same hours in the day. Like, the most valuable resource is time. So, why would you not pay your future self now? Why would you not love your future self now? And think of gratitude, affirmations, growth mindset, learning, processing, doing something that makes you scared every day.
yeah,
Growth and comfort zones cannot coexist.
yeah.
So one way to master your mindset is to get comfortable being uncomfortable. comfortable and like, what's one thing that makes me nervous? Do it.
Yeah.
Because God put the best things in life. This is from Will Smith. God put the best things in life on the other side of fear.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
So we can do a whole podcast on like how do you manage fear.
Yeah.
We can talk about that if you want.
I don't know
what time we have.
I don't know how I do that.
Yeah.
I did.
Once you say fear stops so many people.
Yeah, for sure. I did have a question because you work with a lot like youth. It seems like, or like younger, like teens.
It's all across the board. I say hide your wife, hide your kids. I come for everyone.
So
you got businesses, you got like sales teams, like CEOs, you got like schools, and like sports, like pro athletes, college athletes, youth athletes, teachers, leaders of schools, like kids, so like everyone.
So question on the kids.
Yeah.
I feel like we're in such a crazy generation because I'm thinking like generationally, like when I have kids, how I'm going to be able to like train them to be resilient and like present and all that stuff. Because we're in the age where you go to a restaurant, all the kids are on the iPads and they play video games all day. Like how do you communicate with youth or kids to start building that, like building their minds for visualization, for all that stuff in the information iPad screen age?
Kids will get this. If you explain to them, like kids will get it. This stuff. Like my kids, like my oldest is 8, almost 9, and we have daily routines. So it goes back to rise to our goals. You follow to our systems. So every morning, as a family, we have breakfast. We play what's called Happy Breakfast, where everyone says one thing that they feel happy about, and then we count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Happy. We pound the table, make it a game. We make gratitude a game. And then you're not allowed to say can and don't in our house. So those are like, that's a negative word, that's a bad word. Yeah. So we talk about like Winnie, she's 5 years old. She's like, Dad, I can't find my blanket. It's like, can you help me? I was like, I'll help you, but Winnie, do this one thing, say, I always find my blanket.
Yeah.
Find my blanket is so easy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna find it, like, all I do is find blankets. Like, let's use that language, that powerful language, and see yourself finding it. Dad, I found it in like 5 seconds. That's what I'm talking about. You're commanding your mind to do what you want, not what you don't want.
Yeah.
And then even Baylor in baseball, like I'm hands off as a coach, as a dad. But like his first game was last week, and I was like, "Bud, the one thing I want you to do, I don't care what, if you strike out, I don't care what, make it error, no, just have fun, compete. But tell me to do one thing: just close your eyes before each at bat and just see yourself, see the ball where you want it. Just feel so good. Just mash it. So he was batting leadoff. And it was like warm-ups, and I didn't tell him to do this. He went up to the batter's box when the coaches were like lining the field, and he was closed his eyes doing practice swings.
Yeah, so good.
And his first pitch, he had a base hit up the middle. I told him to start crying.
Yeah.
I could have cared if he struck out.
Yeah.
But it's like, dude, just prime your mind what you want, not what you don't want.
Yeah. And
then the last thing I would say is we have a slogan in our house. The slogan in our house is, I say, kids, what do Hendersons do? They say help. Hendersons help. So a way that we measured is after the day's over, when I snuggle with them, we're going to bed, reading a book, snuggle, I ask them one question: who'd you help today? I didn't ask them, what'd you learn in school? I said, who'd you help today?
That's good.
So they focus on gratitude in the morning, using powerful language during the day, and they know that I'm going to just check and, Henderson's help, seek to serve, don't swerve.
Yeah.
So they're helping their siblings, their friends, their mom, their dad. So having systems.
Yeah, that's good. Fear.
You want to talk about fear?
Let's talk. We'll talk about fear, and then we'll bring it home.
Okay.
Fear. So I think there's two extremes. There's the people who let fear paralyze them, and they don't do anything. They stay in their hole. And then there's the extreme of people who don't see fear and then end up just like going crazy, and like not using wisdom accompanied with the fear, right? So what's the balance of the two? And then, because I asked my pastor that too, like faith and wisdom, like how do you balance the two? He's like, it's like a 1-2 punch, like you gotta have both of them. It's okay, if we got fear in line, like how are we perceiving fear? How are we getting over fear?
And I would say, I hope we never get over fear. Because I think there's healthy fear and there's bad fear. So if I'm doing like a training, I'll say, okay, everybody, let's write down the words no fear. Let's write down no fear.
Yeah.
And most people spell it N-O, fear.
Yeah.
It's like, that's wrong.
Yeah.
If we demonize and like put down people who are afraid, like it's okay to feel afraid. We need to K-N-O-W fear.
That's good.
we need to know like what it is. Fear is a physical response to a mental threat.
Yeah, come on.
Fear is a physical response to a mental threat. Palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy. Vomit on a sweater over your mom's spaghetti. It's a physical response. There's nothing even dangerous in front of you. Like you're creating this future hasn't even happened. You're thinking worst case scenarios, and you're letting this negativity play that what if game, and it's going to go negative. But like, what if we understand fear for what it is that fear is an invitation to greatness? Because if we're in that comfort zone, we cannot grow. There are three zones we live in: comfort, stretch, and panic zone. We don't want to live in comfort or panic. That stretch zone, if we can expand that like stretch zone, where we're trying something new every day, we're getting comfortable, doing difficult things, and being okay that I'm not going to win right away, but I'm going to come back. So it's just exposing yourself to new things that are I'm a little unsure, but the best way to build trust within yourself is, confidence isn't I know I'll win. Confidence is I know I can figure it out. So I've given myself the opportunity to fail, to try, to explore. Because the longer you wait, you add weight to that fear. So the best way to beat fear,
more significance.
Well, the best way to beat fear is through action. Action changes things. Is to move through it. So there's Stanford did some research. And Andrew Huberman, gosh, his last name. But he was talking about how in a trial they put like these rats in this like tube, and the rats are fighting over like space, like the warm spot. Like so they put these rats in a tube, and the scientists push one rat forward to push everyone back. When they put them back in, the rat that got pushed was like the confident dominant one, because he already experienced that he won, so he moved forward. The other one went back and retreated. So we know that this is Newton's first law: an object in motion stays in motion, an object in idle stays in idle. So your number one tool to work through fear is to attack and decide: is this real fear? Is this fake fear? Because danger is real. Like danger is like your physical state. That's a totally different thing than FOPO. What if I fail? What are they going to think? What will they say? They're going to judge. That's all internal. So like having some routines to reset. I have, look at your other side of your bracelet. It says reset, refocus, rise. So when you notice your critic popping up, is that thought true? Who says that that's even real?
Yeah.
So have a reset word. Have like a mantra, like a reset phrase. My reset phrase is I'm not defined by this. I'm not defined by this. And then refocus is to have a reset routine, like breath. Your breath is going to be your biggest tool to stay present. Oftentimes we're nervous, we get shallow breathing, which activates fight, flight, freeze, hide. If you can slow down our breathing, it signals your mind you're not in danger. You get more. It's called CO2. We don't need oxygen, we need more CO2. Because more oxygen, it's like, okay, there's a predator. You got to slow it down.
Yes.
And then we just need to understand that adversity is an invitation to greatness. Adversity is life's golden ticket to take it to a place we could never go if we choose to use it the right way. I'll say it again. Adversity is life's golden ticket to take us to a place we could have never gone if we choose to use it the right way. So if you're looking at that like adversity is like, oh, I'm a victim. Well, when things get hard, get curious, get creative, find something new, find something different. That's going to be your best solution, instead of just staying stagnant and not like trying these new things. So listeners, have a reset word, reset phrase. You notice doubt, fear. Take a step back and reframe what's happening. How can I learn from this? Have a quick system to respond physically, like a routine, and then let's just choose to take action.
Do you think that what is one of the biggest separators from the super successful and maybe the non, like I think of someone like an Elon Musk, like he doesn't work for NASA, yet he's sending stuff to space, because he sees a fear and he goes whoosh, and then he sees another fear barrier, whoosh, and then like Jeff Bezos, and like
well, I look at looking at, so part of it is like the courage to act in spite of fear, the courage to act in spite of doubt, and I used to stammer, stutter, like I've through therapy, I did Toastmasters for 3 years. So I'm living in my biggest fear, but like asking for help is a sign of strength. So you don't have to do it by yourself. Asking for help. So a simple drill with fear is to write it, read it, speak it. Like write it down and then read it. Because we create these like false narratives in our mind, and then if someone told you what you're going through, you probably sit back and say, you can do it.
Yeah.
But you don't do that to yourself. So if you can see, like, part of like attacking fear is like, let it live on the page, not in your head, and then read it back to yourself and then speak it. Talk to a therapist, a friend, someone you trust. Once you verbalize it and get it out in the open, it's like a virus. Once it's airborne, it's dead.
For sure. Yeah.
But if we hold it in, that virus is going to attack and spread everywhere. If we can let it be airborne and like in a safe environment, it's going to kill it. I'm saying, what's the next right step for me to take one little step to advance?
Yeah.
And then what I found is if you do what you fear the most, there's nothing you cannot do. So listeners, what's one thing you've been avoiding or delaying? What's one thing in your marriage, your relationship, at work, if you're a student, like in your life, what's one thing you've been avoiding or delaying? Write it down. Read it back to yourself. Tell someone, and then take one action to move forward. It's like the rats in the tunnel. Take one forward motion. I'm not saying you can solve it right now, but like, you're not a prisoner anymore.
Yeah, free.
The longer you wait, you add weight. Just if you can verbalize it and just talk to it with somebody. I hid anxiety. I didn't talk about it.
Yeah, same.
I hid, I stuttered. I tried to hide that thing. I never asked for help. Doing speech therapy changed my life, but having a coach that kind of worked me through, here's how you move forward. Here's some steps to do. But just having that, dude, self-talk is a game changer. Complete. No one teaches us how to speak to ourselves.
No.
Like having some systems on like self-talk, compassion, how to affirm things who you are and who you aren't. Yeah. And just attacking fear, bias for action.
I had anxiety for a long time, and it would be to a point where I would get panic attacks when I'm driving. Yeah, like legit, I would have to pull over. Heart is going 115 beats per minute. Like I'm about to die. And then once I started incorporating a lot of what you talked about with like the deep breathing, acknowledging it, zooming out, thinking about my thoughts, controlling my brain to control my body, it's like boom, it's done. Talking about it. The more I talked about it, the more I brought it up to people, more counselor, girlfriend, it's like, dang, and then it started to diffuse, and now that it's out, now that it's done and like resolved through the practices, a lot of what you've talked about, it's like I feel so much like more free. It's like that's anxiety attack in a car, like driving, like no, I'm good.
But you'd be surprised, like a lot of people are probably, even though you think like you're the only one, like a lot of people have had maybe an experience that's kind of something, maybe that there's different triggers, but like odds are is we're all going through
100%
something, and we think we're the only one. It's not true.
Yeah.
May is Mental Health Awareness Month.
Yeah, come on.
So the more we're having these conversations, bring this stuff to light, and like say, and normalizing it.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you're gonna wake up, and you probably feel like you can't get out of bed. I feel for you. I have empathy. But have you talked to someone about it?
Yeah.
Ask for help. There's like apps now for this. There's hotlines you can call.
Man, so
No one should worry or win alone. The moment you start talking about it and asking for help is a sign of strength. Make your mess your message. Make your mess your mission. And I'm just encouraging people, like, fear is real.
Yeah.
It is. It's a human, like, this amygdala, this limbic system, one of the first parts of the brain developed. And it's designed for our survival. It's not designed for you to feel abundance. It's designed to look at, like, I'm in traffic, I gotta get out of the way.
Yeah.
But we're letting things in our environment that is fake fear to really stop us. So, counselor, someone you trust, talk about it.
That needs to be normalized.
Normalize it.
Yeah. Like my life is radically changed from a counselor.
Let's go.
Completely.
Like, you have coaches in sports.
Yeah, exactly.
You have like teachers in music. Like, here's a voice coach. Having someone help guide you and manage your thoughts and your fears and what you're going through, like having the therapy, counseling. But I like to say there's prehab and there's rehab. But what if I'm crushing it? You don't need to be sick to get better. Having some prehab, like priming and like the things we talked about, the
keeping your identity,
my will, or just having some systems of like self-care. Like, I'm tired of people like glorifying grinding.
Oh, me too. I was a grinder, and I burned myself out, and I was like, what am I doing? Like, now I'm kind of on the other side, and I'm way more fulfilled.
100%.
It's like, man, the hustle, the grind, the 24/7, 367. It's like, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
There's a time for it.
Yeah. But I feel like if are you grinding or are you like grooving?
Yeah, for sure.
It's like if you're working super hard and you feel stressed, like that's like depression. That's like
For sure.
that's like
And then it ruins
tough.
everything. You know?
But if you're like putting a lot of work and you're loving it, like that's like passion.
Yeah, for sure. It's like a tree. It's like if you're like what we talked about earlier. It's like if you're just working really hard and yeah, you'll produce fruit, but is it rotten? How's your family? How's your friends?
Yeah,
How's your
and I've been thinking about too. Like I think for your health, like emotionally, mentally, a proven tactic that creates really awesome things in your brain is to serve people.
Yeah, so
Is
true.
to be of service.
Yep.
And to be kind.
Yeah.
And challenge yourself. It's been like a crazy year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
So if I can seek to serve and have that empathy and like to make kindness normal and to do your good job of knowing people's names, asking how they're doing, being available for them, listening without having to feel like you have to say stuff. I think that's a whole other another angle.
So good.
Yeah.
Man, this was fire.
Let's go.
Is this fire, Jimmy?
Gems.
So good.
Your gems.
Colin, where can people find you? And what can they get from you? You got some great books.
Go
I'm gonna
to
buy all your books.
Amazon and just search my name with two L's.
Yeah, you gotta get that.
That's probably the best thing. And on the IG too.
Yeah, what's the IG?
Collin Henderson.
Cool.
On Instagram.
Dude, this is fire. We
It's
gotta get
fun.
you back in.
I had a good time.
Man.
Super
Super
grateful.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching and listening to the Rise podcast. Please do me a favor and subscribe to this podcast if you haven't already. Share it with a friend if you think it was valuable, and also give it a thumbs up. If you want more content, feel free to follow me on Instagram at Austin Schneider, where I'll be dropping snippets of this and other type of content. Also, subscribe to the YouTube channel and be on the lookout for weekly podcast episodes just like this one. Thanks everyone.